Good people, good people, good people. It's time for us to have a productive soul conversation. And so I want the conversation to be as clear as I can get it. And that's a little bit of a pun intended, because you guys might recall that I did share about clear rum last week, which is one of the products that you see me out and about talking about and sharing about. Fun beverage. It's probably one of the most healthiest rums you can have out there. Again, it's always a little tricky to talk about health and alcohol consumption, but if you could do it, if it had an intersection, if health and alcohol consumption had a baby, it would have clear rum, right? So, I'll tag them in this so you can learn more about them. But fun brand, 0 grams sugar, 0 carbs. Distilled 12 times, the water's filtered 18. It's remarkable, right? Really, really fun product. So anyway, that being said, I want this to be a clear conversation about the 25 blueprint, and we're going to get into the 25 blueprint. We're going to get in between the sheets. All right, get your mind out the gutter, guys. Get your mind out the gutter. We're talking about the blueprint, okay? All right, so last week, I broke it down. I said, hey, look, we're going to go in between the sheets here. I'm going to show you the features, what's behind this. So there's a button. If you have a digital version, this is actually clickable, that you would press on to have you just watch a quick training, a series of quick trainings actually, about how to use this particular method and this particular system. If you are a write your plans out kind of person, this is perfect for you. Even if you're a digital Google Calendar user, this is also perfect for you, because I believe that it's important sometimes to just feel yourself, write something out and visualize it, and then execute it digitally. Okay, so very, very valuable, very, very important. So if we're getting in between the sheets here, those features are what you can expect. There's a 3-week look ahead. These are just the symbols of what I call the 5 kingdoms, right? There's faith. This is what represents faith. Anytime you see that on a page somewhere, it represents faith. See the gathering of people, that represents relationships, which I call fellowship. See the dollar sign, that represents finances. See the smiley face, that represents feelings. See the weight here, this represents fitness, right? But I couldn't just, fitness is kind of captures your environment, your home, your car, everything that has to do with the physical world is all embodied inside of this particular icon, okay? And then, of course, you got the clock in the middle to kind of help you realize that, you want to govern and manage all those things around the clock, right? So the 3-week look-ahead sheets are the pages that follow for you to start planning out, hey, what's up ahead, what's coming? And I use the term 3-week look-ahead based on a particular approach to construction that I learned in my early days as an engineer, right? And I worked in commercial construction, and I'm going to save that story for a different video. I can't break it down. I can't get into it right now, but you should just know that particular method is remarkable when it comes to really planning your productivity. People talk about time blocking. The 3-week look ahead is like time blocking on crack. Okay? It's just mind blowing. Okay. So that said, I talked about the weekly intentions and outcomes page last week. Also, you might remember when I talked about how, if you think to-do lists, think again. This is the to-do list that you dreamed about having, but you just didn't know you needed it. Okay. With that page, there's a last section here that I just wanted to break down, right? This page right here has a little corner. See, based on my lighting, see this corner right here? That corner has a secret sauce, okay? So if you struggle with being consistent, this is the section of this book, this playbook or planner, that you don't want to skip, okay? I skip it, and I regret skipping it every time, okay? That's how powerful this section is. So I'm going to read to you what's in that section, in that little corner, because that corner is what allows you to be consistent. If you really struggle with just, sticking to things, that section will save you. And that section has about 6 specific things that you got to keep your eye on. Okay. Here's what it is. 1, completely review your actions. Like this last week, take a look. Like what happened? If you break it down into the 5 kingdoms, like I just showed you, what happened for you spiritually? What happened for you socially? What happened for you financially? What happened for you emotionally? What happened for you physically, right? As far as your world, physical world, okay? Logistics, all of that. Was there improvement? Was there not improvement? How? Why? You got to genuinely think about this. If you want to build strengths, you got to go from, well, what really were your strong points this past week and then build on top of that. That's how you continue to grow. So there's a bullet there with a little, sort of place for you to put a check mark in that says, hey, that you complete your weekly review. And not only that, you got to actually give yourself a score on it. Okay. So each person is going to have their own kind of score, because what you need to do to have a great week versus what I need to do to have a great week is going to vary, right? For you, it could be, hey, finding time to go grocery shopping. For me, it could be finding time to order the groceries. Different. Same objective, but, there's a way that you'll measure that, okay? So once you give yourself that score, you can kind of now start to track yourself improving, especially if you looked the week before and you see that your score was a 3 and now it's a 3.5, you name it, right? If you think about it that way, you can see yourself improve. The second bullet, right, that I wanted you to address and I want you to think about here is scheduling what you're going to do if your score was horrible. So if your score didn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out, you now get to look at the week ahead and say, okay, you know what? In the area of my social life or relationships, I really kind of, I was at a 2, right? On a scale of 1 to 5, say I was at a 2. I think it's time for me to actually make that at least a 3 or a 4 or move towards 4. So now you get to look ahead and say, okay, I need to look at what are the social opportunities that I have to connect with people, to build with people, to bond, and to really create some amazing experiences, right? So now you can plan that out. You can actually plan that out as far as what? 3 weeks ahead. Ta-da, right? So that's another bullet. Third bullet is you update next week's intentions and actions. So remember the to-do list? Right? Once this week's to-do list is over, you can look at next week's to-do list and start to make adjustments. Like, okay, I didn't do this last Tuesday, but I'm going to focus on making sure it happens in this next Tuesday or the Tuesday after that, right? Because you're looking 2 to 3 weeks ahead. Okay? So you got to make time to do that. Then you got to make adjustments on your 3-week look ahead, right? Which is just a page which you just kind of time block what's going to happen for the week. And you just make adjustments. Like, do I need to, maybe allow myself to have an extra hour to work on this because it didn't really work out last time when I gave myself only a half hour, right? You get to just move around and have some fun with this. Using colored pencil can really be helpful, or colored pens. Remember those old school pens that you had to rotate over? That can be fun, but those don't last very long, but you can use highlighters and things like that to make some fun of this. Schedule. Now this is the last 2 are actually kind of tricky. You can schedule a coaching call if you have a coach, or if I'm coaching you, right? One of the things you can do is to schedule a coaching call and or participate on a group coaching conversation that will facilitate support and guide you towards just breaking through any places that you're kind of stuck. Okay? So that's important. If you need the coaching, right? I forgot to mention that. If you need the coaching, schedule a coaching call or reach out or text and send a message and say, hey, listen, I need to schedule a coaching call, right? So that's also, one of the bullets. And then the other thing is share your wins with your best friend or a community of people that are really cheering for you and really rooting for you, okay? Now, why is this important? I think sometimes we have to think about the fact that we are human, and sometimes it's refreshing and rejuvenating to hear another person say, hey, wow, man, I see you made progress in this area. Hey, I see you losing weight. Or, hey, I see you gaining muscle. Or, hey, I see you eating different. Or, hey, I see you know, you know, you're dressing different, or you sound more confident. Whatever it is, it's reinforcing for us to have experiences like that. Okay, so sharing your wins, you will never know how much it inspires other people, and you never know how it would inspire you, because once you share them, people can respond and say, you know what, I did notice that, right? And celebrate you growing. So those 6 things right there, these 6 things that are in between these sheets, right, are really, really powerful with keeping you consistent, keeping you on target, keeping you focused, especially if you struggle with that. Okay. And it's all right in here. Every week, there's a little section down at the bottom where you can just use a check mark to just tick them off as you go through it. Okay. So that's this conversation. That's this productive soul conversation that I want to share with you. And at the very least, if you have stuck around this far, right? I always imagine that some people just get lost. They're like, it sounds too hard. It sounds too technical. Keep it moving. But for those who are like, maybe Buihe is on to something. Maybe there's something to this blueprint process, right? If you stuck around to this part of this conversation, I challenge you to get yourself a blueprint and a playbook and watch the magic happen for you. Start thinking about what you're creating and what you're doing with some respect, right? I mean, if you were building a structure, one of my earliest videos about this concept was called Specs. And I talk about how we can't build anything monumental, anything extraordinary or remarkable without some physical representation of that thing before it's constructed. And the same thing applies to our lives. And so if you're ready to build or continue to build, and you've heard me talk about building a better you, use some blueprints to help you, right? Don't leave it to scribble and scratch on the back of a napkin to build a better you. Use a blueprint, plan and execute, right? So that's how we make the week, WEEK, strong. Boom, boom. All right, y'all. That's enough. That's my time. Let me get out of here. Thank you for watching this Productive Soul or listening to this Productive Soul conversation. Can't wait for you guys to get a hold of this, get your hands on this, and both the playbook. Currently, there's a mid-year pivot bundle that's available at a very, very respectful price for you to get access to it, okay, and get started. So that's it. Head over to the bio or the description section to make sure you get what you need, and I'll see you or hear you or talk to you on the next Productive Soul conversation. All right, guys, peace.